The Jamaican patty has produced two remarkable success stories in America. One began in Clarendon. Juici grew from a small Jamaican family business into Jamaica's largest patty chain, and is now opening franchises across the United States. The other began in the Bronx. Jamaican immigrants built Golden Krust into an American company that now says it produces more than 40 million patties every year. Same Jamaican product, same Jamaican identity, but two very different money trails. For Jamaicans, the patty was never merely something to eat. It was school lunch, work lunch, bus stop food, a warm paper bag that became part of everyday Jamaican life. Today, that familiar meal is creating factories, franchises, supermarket sales, and jobs across America. Both business stories should make Jamaica proud. But one is a Jamaican company expanding overseas. The other was built by Jamaicans overseas, with much of its visible economic activity taking place in America. And that difference leads to a question hidden inside every patty sold abroad. When Jamaican culture becomes big business, how much of the money reaches Jamaica, and who really profits? The size of the opportunity is no longer easy to dismiss. Golden Krust says it produces more than 40 million patties annually, employs more than 1,800 people, and generates more than $100 million in system-wide sales. Its frozen products are supplied to thousands of American retail outlets. In 2025, one Golden Krust product line entered 1,600 Walmart stores across more than 30 states. Juici now has more than 30 operating restaurants in the United States. The company said in July 2026 that it had opened more than 30 US restaurants during the previous 2 years, with another 30 under construction across 11 states. At one Bronx opening in September 2025, Juici reported selling 28,700 patties during the first week. That was not a normal weekly average. It was an opening week result announced by the company. But even with that warning, the figure tells us something important. There is a serious appetite for this product, and Juici and Golden Krust are not the only companies meeting that demand. Caribbean Food Delights, founded by Jamaican immigrants in New York, recently completed a $17 million expansion of its production facility. The company says its expanded plant can now produce approximately 40,000 patties per hour. Tower Isles has manufactured Jamaican-style patties in Brooklyn for more than half a century. Its products are sold through supermarkets and distributors, and the company says it imports fresh Scotch bonnet peppers from Jamaica. This is no longer one small ethnic food business serving one immigrant neighborhood. The Jamaican patty has become an American industry. It can now be found in Caribbean restaurants, bodegas, pizza shops, supermarkets, military commissaries, school systems, and sports venues. It has also entered high-end dining. In New York, some elaborate versions now cost more than $20. Before we follow the money, tell us where you are watching from and where you buy your Jamaican patties. New York, Florida, Toronto, London, somewhere else? Your answers may show just how far this product has traveled. The patty's journey did not begin in America. Its familiar pastry form also has an older ancestor. Jamaican cultural and tourism sources describe it as a descendant of the Cornish pasty, which arrived during British colonial rule. But Jamaica did not simply reproduce the British product. The seasoning, color, heat, and fillings developed within Jamaica's own cultural environment, shaped especially by African and Indian culinary traditions. The pastry ancestor came from elsewhere. The product the world recognizes today became distinctly Jamaican, and the value being sold overseas is not merely flour wrapped around meat. It is Jamaica's flavor, reputation, memory, and identity. Golden Krust demonstrates what the diaspora can build from that identity. In 1989, Lowell Hawthorne, his wife Lorna, 4 of his siblings and their spouses pooled their resources and opened the first Golden Krust restaurant on East Gun Hill Road in the Bronx. In 1993, the company moved its manufacturing operations to the South Bronx. It later developed a franchise and retail network that carried Jamaican food far beyond one neighborhood. Today, Golden Krust describes itself as North America's largest franchisor of Caribbean cuisine. The company reports more than 100 restaurants and a major frozen food distribution network. This is Jamaican entrepreneurship at an extraordinary scale. But most of its visible economic activity occurs in America. The production plant employs people in America. Restaurant workers are employed in America. Franchise owners pay American rent. American supermarkets, distributors, transport companies, and government tax systems also receive part of the value. That does not make Golden Krust less Jamaican in its culture, history, or identity. It means Jamaican diaspora wealth and money entering Jamaica's domestic economy are not the same thing. There is still a direct connection to the island. Golden Krust says it has sourced Scotch bonnet peppers, thyme, and other seasonings from Jamaican farmers for nearly 3 decades. In late 2025, it also provided assistance to 10 Jamaican farmers within its supply chain following hurricane damage. That creates real value for Jamaica. But we could not find a public figure showing how much Golden Krust purchases from Jamaica annually, how many farmers normally supply it, or what percentage of the value inside each patty begins on the island. Tower Isles also says its Brooklyn factory uses Scotch bonnet peppers imported from Jamaica, so Jamaican agriculture is present inside parts of the American patty industry. The question is how large that connection could become. Then there is Juici. Juici's story started in 1978, when 16-year-old Juici Chin baked patties in his mother's kitchen and sold them through the family shop. Its first formal restaurant opened in May Pen in 1980. The company now operates 66 restaurants in Jamaica and says it has more than 1,400 employees. Its head office and major Jamaican manufacturing operation remain at Clarendon Park. That makes Juici's American expansion economically different from Golden Krust's. Juici is not simply a diaspora business selling Jamaican food. It is a Jamaica-based company exporting its brand, intellectual property, and franchise system. And the franchise model creates a clear money trail. Juici's current public franchise information lists an initial franchise fee of $45,000 and a continuing royalty equal to 6% of gross sales. That means when an American franchise generates sales, part of that revenue is contractually paid to the franchising business behind the brand. Public Florida records also show that a U.S. Juici intellectual property company is controlled by a holding company listed at Clarendon Park in Jamaica. That strengthens the connection between the American expansion and the Jamaican corporate group. That sounds like the answer. Jamaica created the company. The company expands overseas. Fees and royalties are collected. Jamaica cashes in. But this is where the story stops being simple. The public record does not show how much royalty income Juici receives from its American franchises. It does not show how that money is divided among its American and Jamaican companies. It does not reveal how much is transferred to Jamaica, reinvested there, or eventually recorded as profit. We can prove that the pipe exists. We cannot measure how much money travels through that pipe into Jamaica. There is another missing answer. Juici has substantial manufacturing operations in Clarendon. Its company history also says it manufactures in Canada and the United Kingdom. But its public information does not identify where the patties currently served in its American restaurants are produced. That matters. When a finished patty is manufactured in Jamaica and exported, Jamaica can receive value through factory employment, packaging, transportation, and merchandise exports. When the patty is manufactured overseas, the brand can still earn franchise fees and royalties, but much of the production value remains where the factory operates. This is why ownership alone does not tell the full story. We tried to determine Jamaica's patty export value, but the available public trade data could not give us a reliable answer. The closest international category combines patties with a much wider collection of breads, pastries, and other baked goods. Customs classifications may also change according to the quantity of meat inside the product. That means we cannot take Jamaica's published pastry export figure and call it patty exports. The necessary public number simply is not available. And that may be one of the biggest opportunities revealed by this investigation. Jamaica has one of the world's most recognizable pastries, but we cannot publicly identify how much the country earns from exporting it, how many Jamaican jobs overseas growth supports, how much foreign royalty income enters Jamaica, or how much of the international supply chain begins with Jamaican farms and factories. So, is Jamaica cashing in? Yes, but not through one simple stream of money. Juici's expansion supports a Jamaica-based company, a major Jamaican workforce, a Jamaican-controlled business structure, and a franchise system earning income from overseas operators. Golden Krust, Caribbean Food Delights, and Tower Isles have created major Jamaican diaspora businesses in America. Some of those companies also purchased Jamaican peppers, herbs, and seasonings. But much of the visible value, manufacturing, restaurant employment, rents, distribution, supermarket margins, and taxation, is being created in America. And because the businesses are privately held and the public trade data is too broad, we cannot honestly place one final number on Jamaica's share. That is not a reason to dismiss the success. It is a reason for Jamaica to become more deliberate. First, measure the industry properly. Jamaica should be able to identify the value and volume of patties and patty-related products exported to the United States, Canada, Britain, and the Caribbean. Second, connect more Jamaican farms and manufacturers to the overseas supply chain. The opportunity is not limited to exporting finished patties. Jamaica can supply Scotch bonnet peppers, thyme, scallion, pimento, seasonings, sauces, and other valuable ingredients. Third, help more Jamaican companies develop franchise systems that can travel. Juici demonstrates that a homegrown brand can collect income from restaurants operating thousands of miles away. Fourth, explore a voluntary standard or mark that helps customers identify patties with meaningful Jamaican ownership, manufacturing, or ingredients. The aim should not be to stop creativity. It should be to make genuine Jamaican economic participation more visible. And fifth, treat the diaspora as a business network, not merely a group of consumers who miss home. Golden Krust, Caribbean Food Delights, and Tower Isles show what Jamaicans abroad can build. Juici shows what a company based in Jamaica can export. The larger opportunity is to connect those two strengths. Jamaica is extremely good at creating culture the world wants. The next challenge is to build systems that allow more ownership, jobs, exports, and income to travel with that culture. So, when you see a Jamaican patty in America, do not only ask whether it tastes authentic, ask who manufactured it. Ask where the ingredients came from. Ask who owns the brand, and ask where the money goes. Because the patty may be taking over America. The question is whether Jamaica will capture enough of the value it created. Tell us what Jamaica should do next, and whether the patty could become a model for taking other Jamaican products worldwide. Knowledge is power. and silence is deadly. Subscribe to Impacting Jamaica so we can keep you informed. Share this with everyone in your WhatsApp group, your church, and your family abroad, and help us keep Jamaica's economic future on the table.